Hopefully the jiggle of the ice doesn't cause a disturbance to anyone who listens.
I think it'll cause enhanced jealousy. Green envious margarita rage.
Yeah, the Rio margarita. This is unofficially sponsored by TC Craft, Tennessee, Nashville Tequila.
Wonderful. I'm a very soft speaker, so I just gotta get in close. Yeah.
It's like a Mexican Christmas.
So, this is. I guess I have to welcome you to the show, or whatever this is now. I suppose.
What is this?
This is the Lost Beat 6 podcast, the Lost Beat 6 show that I started like 3 years ago, and then been on and off.
Yeah.
Doing God knows what, because I actually have to work for a living, which is good. It's good. It's a thing I do when I'm not really busy.
Yeah.
But I have been busy, but I'm trying to get it back in a regular. You kind of have to work at it, put it things and
absolutely
get things on the right track.
I think all creative endeavors ebb and flow, depending on the time and the responsibilities you have. But yeah, it's awesome. I'm happy to be a part of whatever you're doing. Thanks for having me this past week. And so this has been fantastic. This is your house. It's awesome. Yeah, thank you, man.
This little apartment pad of yours is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess for anyone who listens, they're not sure what we're talking about, but
that's true. I might be able to explain it to them on the intro.
Good.
So
I'll stay out of like thinking about the listener.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Okay.
Because there's like 3 of them.
Oh, hey, hey, 3 people.
It's probably going to be Ted and John on the road.
Yeah.
Because they actually will listen to this when they're driving.
Oh, and those guys are sweet.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And maybe a couple of my friends.
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh, you do a great job." I go, "Oh shit, you listen."
Oh, I have to be responsible now. I
have to. These people, there's these things that I'm not very good at promoting things, including myself. So it ends up being like oh yeah, by the way, you this guy has a podcast on the side, and I'm almost like embarrassed to talk about it.
Well, you know what I always think about when it comes to like promoting yourself, and I always think about I remember watching an interview with Frank Lloyd Wright, and the way he sees that whole world, like he never like sought out or denied publicity.
Right.
It was just, he just did his work.
Yeah.
And emanating and putting out that spirit that you want to represent, the right people gravitate towards it, and like you build momentum and things just happen naturally when you're doing it,
Right.
And yeah, so he never, I always thought that was a great kind of headspace about it. But
yeah. And it's speaking of just time that you have and the limited time you have when you're busy. You've been one of the busiest people I know the last 3 years.
Whoa. It's weird being on the road. You're so busy, but you're also like, you're so isolated too. And there are moments where there's like downtime, but I don't know. I guess every second you're on the road, you're at work,
Sure.
Because we have to be accountable for not only ourselves, but the business and the people involved in the business, are the musicians we hire, and it's a full spectrum thing. We're not autism, a full spectrum thing, meaning just the full spectrum of responsibility and work. And
I think I figured that one.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. No, we like autism.
Yeah, I've got a buddy who's our dad, Adrian Zmed. He was for the 3 people listening. Our dad, Adrian Zmed. he used to be the president of Actors for Autism.
Really?
Yeah. He worked with them for a while, and there's a little fun fact for you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll throw the reference to you guys. Let's bowl, let's rock and roll every once in a while.
Yeah.
I'll just sneak that in there when I'm talking to either you or Zach, and just to see if you can get a ruse out of you guys.
Oh, you always do.
I mean, we're gonna score tonight, right?
Oh man, it's just the 3 of us here, Zach, myself, and you. So
Yeah. This is a very good margarita.
You like it?
Yes.
It's, why is it purple? No, just kidding. Are you feeling sleepy at all, or?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm sure it's gonna work soon.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So yeah, the space you have is fantastic. It's
Thank you, man.
There's a little. You just put your Fender Rhodes. Is it a Fender Rhodes?
Yeah.
Or
well,
Rhodes.
This is
piano.
Yeah, and this Rhodes is our buddy Burleigh Drummond's.
Oh, okay.
He has a room at the house here, this room that's kind of adjacent to my apartment, and he's brought some stuff over to keep here in the interim until he like moves in and buys a home kind of thing. So,
he's planning on coming out here eventually.
Well, you never know.
Right.
He's got one baby, a wife, and another baby on the way.
Yeah.
And he's building an amazing travel home bus.
Right.
Out of
the Moon Bus or something.
yeah,
called?
our Moon Bus. That's the Instagram stuff. It's amazing. Like he's such a entrepreneurial spirit, and like he carves his own path. You know, like he's a pioneer of great things. And
we're also fans of his dad too.
Yeah, Burleigh Drummond
Yeah.
Sr.
And
Guys, he's an incredible. Like, have you ever shook his hands?
yes,
He's got beautifully soft hands.
Yeah.
That's the sign of a wonderful drummer, I think.
I'm pretty rigid.
He makes a great oatmeal too. Like
Does
his
he?
morning oatmeal is like for champions. It's start a day off like that, you're a winner. But yeah.
So yeah, but
thanks for being here.
Oh my gosh, thanks for
Thanks
I'm glad I got to do this and come out here and
Me too, man.
spend some time with you guys, because I don't actually get a chance. This is almost like a little experience, like living with you guys. It's almost like a slightly like a gonzo journalism thing. You know, it's just kind of like, how are these guys, like, to get to know your creative process and get to know Zach's creative process, and how they can how they're similar, how they're different,
Yeah.
and how, like, I remember you guys talking to you guys back in California, and how they're like, you guys wanted your separate spaces just so you can just, as much as you guys like to be together and you work together and everything, but it's just sort of that space that you can have that's just, you can claim as your own.
Yeah.
And even like the stuff you're doing, you can claim as your own too.
Yeah.
And this
To
is the
be
chance to
able-
plug the EP right now.
Oh yeah. No, that's so cool, man.
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's that I'm just going along with what you're saying. Yeah, to be able to individuate that's like something we've worked really hard to achieve, and we want to be able to foster our own personal kind of creative endeavors, but then have the opportunity to come together, and we have something special that we need to keep tending to, and
Right.
our show that we're touring with is doing that, but it is a very specific aspect of the creative world. Like, we need to be doing our own material and recording music and creating music and stuff. And for the last 3 years, haven't been in one place for longer than a week.
Yes.
Yes. Which is kind of crazy to think about. I've slept in like 250 hotel bedrooms each year, and Airbnbs and all that stuff, and like driven across the country 7 times last year, and then this year already we've done like 3 times we drove across the country.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, and we've gone full on. Like, we at a certain point, we sold what we were living in California,
Right.
in the San Fernando Valley, and then we just like, all right, well, we don't have a house. We don't want to rent an apartment because it's going to be a glorified storage space. So
Yes.
let's just work as much as we can, and like, by the grace of our best friend and booking agent Rich, like he's given us this, we built it, and he had the contacts to send us out and like make it happen, and we've just been building it ever since. And it's you never would have thought we'd be doing this.
It's a great it's a great thing. Sorry, I had no really answer for that.
It really is though. Like I had like a weird aversion when we were in the Janks. I had a weird aversion to like tribute bands.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of, having stepped into this world and the way we wanted to do it from the moment we started it,
right?
It being more about history preservation and about celebrating the aesthetics of something and with people who grew up with it and like the memories involved in it. Sure. And just how deep it runs.
Or even the next generation down.
To share it with the next generation. Yeah. Just to study a time period, like a time period in American culture, and to really dig into it and get to know like as much as we can about it, and that it's educational. Like it's been so transforming for our, sensibility about playing music, and like that's been huge. It's huge.
Yeah,
it's so cool. And it's still growing every day,
Yeah, while I've been here, it's been nothing but like Zmed Brothers, Patsy Cline, and
Marty Robbins. Yeah,
and
I've got his record on my record player.
Just
right
a
now.
whole bunch of just. It's a serious, what they call it, I think a deep dive.
Yeah.
That's what the bloggers would call it. They sort of deep dive into a subject material and they just keep going. And
it's amazing. I mean, it's not even music history, just any part of history. Mm-hmm. The way in which it's documented and the way you're able to you have to take things with a grain of salt, of course, and for any kind of researching of history, but music history is incredible because songs are these like anchor points, and these like create this kind of like impendium or just a discography of an artist can you can almost hear their career narrative in their discography,
right.
Like what they chose to do, the content of the music and the instrumentation and where it was recorded, who was involved with all of it, who were the writers. Like there's so many aspects that kind of open windows into
in that specific period of time, because we're talking recordings from like maybe late 30s to like early 60s. That's like a good chunk of spam. Chunk of spam.
Is that a Hawaiian dish?
A little bit. Yeah, I think there's some Portuguese sausage in there somewhere. But there's a time span that basically kind of covers, especially when you consider like the technology of recording and capturing. And most of the time that was capturing for preservation and capturing performance. And it wasn't, but it kind of in the 60s when recording became an art form and became its own creative tool.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's like those tunes are all like folklore and traditionals that were long since, like the Alan Lomax tier of like traditional American roots of hillbilly music or Acadiana or stuff that came back in the those song structures of the Appalachian the Appalachian culture.
Is it Jimmy Rogers and the Carter family? About like the first country where country music was born.
Right.
This where was it? Zach and I just drove through there. This city on the cusp of Virginia and Tennessee. Like the State Street is like you're on the border. Yeah. And it's where the first recordings in 1927 were done that were like nationally not syndicated but
broadcast
distributed and
those songs
because late 20s and into like the late 50s and early 60s. I mean the radio was huge. Yeah, that was kind of the biggest thing for entertainers. Like that's something that we've been learning is just radio was paramount. That's where everyone got work, and that's what people kind of.
And that goes into like the quote race records and the blues musicians that came up to Chicago and making their own records. Yeah. And those are tunes of like they were almost the purest form of the songwriting style, because they're writing with just the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Excuse me, bare essentials, and it's just like songs, melody, harmony. It sounds kind of like intertwining.
What's that in the
Spinal Tap?
Oh gosh.
Multiple lines intertwining. Yes. But anyway,
David St. Hubbins.
There's Nigel Tufnell, actually.
That's a Nigel Tufnell quote.
Anyway, my point being is we're going back down to the purest form of the song structure, of the American song structure. You know.
Yeah, but you're saying we, as in.
That's what you guys. I feel that's what you guys are doing when you guys are, either sharing this stuff with me, or sharing with your audience, or sharing it with each other.
Yeah.
Or discovering it yourselves. It's like we were talking about the Zmed Brothers today.
Yeah, yeah.
And I forgot that all my my favorite favorite like rock country acts that kind of got into country, like the Flying Burrito Brothers, like the Graham Parson types, and the Chris Hillmans, and we're all looking at
those guys.
Yeah, and
like
I didn't think about
Don and
that.
Phil were huge influences on those guys, you know.
Yeah,
and countless amount of people. Like, I mean, yeah, but there's so many. Like doing the show we've been doing has kind of been the tip of the iceberg, and it's kind of a gateway to like this entire world of different artists that we just never thought about, like the Blue Sky Boys, the Delmore Brothers, the Bales Brothers, the Stanley Brothers, and the Kershaw Brothers, who were like these Louisiana guys. I mean, Rusty and Doug Kershaw.
And Clayton.
And who's Clayton?
Clayton Kershaw.
Oh, that might not be the same family, is it?
I'd hope so.
I hope so. Is he?
You know who Clayton Kershaw is?
No, I don't.
He's the Dodgers ace pitcher for the last 10 years.
Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah.
He's from Texas.
He's a Texas guy?
Boy. Yeah.
Well, you never know. The family could have some kind of relation. But yeah, it's just so cool to be we're specifically digging into like brother acts, like the kind of history of brother acts in American music and stuff. And it's super educational to just see what the industry was like at different times.
Yes. And
how people sought out, like they needed to be they needed to work. So
yeah.
I mean, radio was huge. It's really interesting, like how influential radio was, and then when TV came about, and then the Industrial Revolution in the 50s and 60s, and technology was changing for recording.
Right.
And things just shifted.
Right.
Because you could send things out. You can get music to people differently.
Right.
And that's never stopped. It since that time, like it's exponentially changed, But roots music is amazing. Like, I mean, you can take it as far back to early humans,
Right.
But like, yeah, I just feel like roots music is something that will never die. So kind of studying it and knowing it more is like almost a responsibility of any musician, I feel like.
Sure.
I mean, you got to just be you and respond to reality as you are and who you are now, in the now time. But yeah, I mean, they say know your history or you'll repeat it, kind of thing. But I guess
I think my favorite is history doesn't repeat itself, but it kind of rhymes.
It kind of rhymes.
Yeah, it rhymes off. It often rhymes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
That's what George Lucas wrote. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah.
And he was trying to, rationalize his decision making on the Phantom Menace.
Oh. Controversial stuff.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. I steer clear of Star Wars arguments more than I used to.
Oh, yeah, you were more gung ho about getting into them.
No, I mean, like, I think it's just there's a level of like fandom that can't be there's a level of fandom that can't be mastered. Like we were talking about like the Game of Thrones. There's a lot of people that were disappointed, but I think the expectations were as such where they could never be pleased.
Yeah, I mean you can't. I mean, yeah, that applies to any aspect of life.
A lot of Star Wars is like that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it took me. I went in deep on Game of Thrones. It became something that I watched all of it several times through.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, being on the road, we have these like 6-7 hour drives where I have all the episodes on my hard drive. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'll watch an episode again, and one thing leads to another, and you see the whole show 6 times through. But yeah, it's that whole thing like about just being a creative person. You make things, and it's so much easier to kind of judge or just like kind of judge people who are making things. But if you're not making something, just go ahead and make something that you want the world to see, that you think should be the way it is, you know? And you can be a critic up the wazoo, but like good on them for just doing it, you know?
They finished it.
Jeezy crazy. Yeah. They
had to finish it sometime, man.
Yeah, and it's disappointing because like they had been so intelligently treating certain things, and it felt like it just kind of, it lost a certain. There weren't things that had oomph or like a real triumph spirit to it. There were things that kind of petered away, but
I think
it's just the way
for
it goes.
A show that made its reputation on not deliver like they made a show that basically uprooted common character tropes and plot points and things that would be considered like you're expecting to happen, except they between them the writers and George R.R. Martin, like we're really, basically really twisting concepts together. So with the time when you get to the point where everybody's hyping the big points, and they actually do deliver on the big points you all wanted to see, it becomes like, oh, well, we're getting this now, and it's like you're expecting it to still be either teased further or in a slightly different vein that like it's actually happening.
Well, the last 2 seasons were different than the first 6.
Mm-hmm.
6. 7,
there's 8 seasons, so there's the first 6,
and it's. I mean, I've heard stories. I don't know, but I mean, they got the Star Wars to write Star Wars, and then they.
Oh yeah, right.
And then they kind of said, all right, let's
got them.
Yeah, and they said, okay, we're gonna finish up doing the Game of Thrones thing, but I think HBO and George R.R. Martin wanted it to continue several more seasons.
I could believe that.
Yeah.
Well, George needs time to finish the books.
Yeah, I mean, he's on his own path, and rightfully so. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a cultural phenomenon because there's so many archetypes in that show that really nailed it,
Right.
Like a lot of things, and it's just a different time, I think that medieval, the Iron Age, where it's always so attractive, because you're the warrior. It's the archetype of the warrior and the hero and the queen and the motherly figure and the crone. The Faith of the Seven is like it kind of represents all those things, and it's just such a smart. It's a smart show. But nothing's gonna be everything everyone wants it to. Wait, what's Abraham Lincoln say? I was gonna say George Lincoln. He said you can't please all the people all the time.
Well,
you
I think it's about fool. You can fool some of the people. Is fooling some of the people.
It was fooling.
Yeah, you can fool some of the people.
Fooling is a form of pleasing, I guess.
You can fool some people all the time, I think, but you can't fool all the people all the time.
So you can say that about pleasing them too.
Sure.
Yeah. But that's the way it goes.
But moving back to kind of what you're actually up to. You I was able to listen to your EP that you were working on the last year or so. I don't know. It was made on the road.
Yeah. Last year in Ashland, Oregon, at Rich Reese's, our friend and agent, I just so happened that it was like, it was some break we had that was like maybe a week long, but we were moving around a bit, and I kind of planned this. I was going to house sit for him, so he went off to do some stuff. I think he actually went to go hang with my brother. They were doing some small trip together.
Okay.
To see the Young Dubliners play.
Okay.
They're buddies. And I was watching his house for like 2.5 or 3 days, and that was the first time I'd been alone for that I could even remember.
Right.
Like uninterrupted alone time, and like he had a drum set there, and I just kind of I've got my microphone, the one you're actually talking on.
Yes.
And I just set it up. I put it in the right spot on the drum kit, to get the. I did a little YouTube video search for miking a kit with one.
You probably saw that reverb one that talked about how to mic with like the minimum amount of
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
This dude.
I saw that.
His
Yeah,
name. He's great
really
though.
Good. It's a good video.
Yeah, I really liked it, and so I just set the mic up, and I put I set up open files on GarageBand and just set different tempos. So I just chose a tempo, I put the click in, and I pressed record, and I played for on drums for 15 minutes on each file. So I just would kind of play until I found a groove and really felt like I locked into it, and then from that groove I'd kind of play some fills and then play other things, and so I had enough to work with that I did that 12 times, and I pieced together in that day, the same day.
Yeah.
I did those 12 things, and then I pieced together these rough versions of songs, like a section, B section, C section kind of thing, with fill transitions, just super simple. And the next day I sat at the piano, and I found progressions that I liked over each drum structure. And then the next day I did the same thing with an acoustic guitar. And then from that point, those 3 days, I did those 12 songs. And then on the road, I just, I guess it was driving from LA to the East Coast with Zach. I was in the back of our tour van bus thing. And I was just tracking electric guitar that whole time. And then all through Canada.
Where'd you get the power?
Oh, it's just through the little mini Scarlett.
Oh, so you just went
interface straight into the computer
and
DI.
You used one of the Apple amps that they had.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I mean, I never let it just be the stock thing. Like I would always open it up and tweak things and play with things a bit. But I mean, you do what you can with what you've got when you've got it. So so I did all the electric guitar, driving across the country in a van, and then
it sounds so good for how you're describing it. Just cause I'm so used to the getting it. It's actually quite inspiring that everything's being made on both willpower and just not letting just getting with the gear, not letting the gear be a main
to any hang-ups, whatever you have, just make something,
because I sort of scoff sometime at the bedroom laptop kid making records, because most of the time they're not making very good records.
Well,
the songs are very good, but the thing is, the songs are good, and you've been honing this down for years. So the tones and the sounds that you want in your head, and
what I've basically my decision was that I'm just gonna follow my intuition, because it's the same way I paint or I draw and stuff. You just go, you lay it down, and then you piece things together, you play with it until you feel okay, I can leave this alone. And that
there's no hesitation with the way you're going about it in a good way.
I just wanted to follow my intuition, and the hesitation is in you'll try something and then you'll hear it and you're like, this just doesn't fit. Or it's not hesitation, it's just kind of reflecting on your actions, I suppose. But I mean, I'm not saying it's great, but I had fun doing it.
Yeah.
Just
That's the most important thing.
That's all that's all that matters. And it's like it's me just kind of flexing the creative muscle, and yeah, I mean all the synth parts that I did to kind of try and write vocal melodies over it were done when we were touring across Canada. So I was in the front seat of the van, and I had this little MIDI keyboard, and I was just kind of screwing around with it on all the drives we were doing. And then I tracked all the bass in Arroyo Grande, in California.
Okay. I think it's Grande.
Arroyo Grande?
Central Coast,
Grand?
right?
Yeah. Central Coast.
By Paso Robles.
Yeah. And we were playing the Clark Center out there. It's a really nice theater. And yeah, so I just did bass in like one day in a hotel room, staying there. And then I did percussion in Annapolis, Maryland.
Good town.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sparrow.
Yeah, David Sparrow's out there. We have just the most wonderful human being, an angel. This woman named Madeline Davis and her friend Dee Freeman. They're the sweetest people ever. And they just we met them through playing, and they always let us stay at their house, or at Madeline's house, and they just take crazy good care of us. Right. It's this most amazing thing. But yeah, so we were staying at her place and did percussion there, and then I was just waiting for to do vocals. And we bought this house so I could do vocals. Yeah. And more things, of course, but
yeah, I mean, looking. What I love about this little apartment here, and I can't say enough. No, is the idea is it's sort of like you really put your sort of your personality and your attitude sources or whatever, like the espresso maker, the mini bar, the little drum room closet, it just and the fact that you have space to do that is awesome. Because it is really an apartment with a three, with a bedroom and a bathroom in its own space.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could be. I mean, it's fully self-contained in here. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's not you do what you can with what you have when you have it. So this is a first step for us. I mean, moving to Nashville outside of Nashville was like the right progression for us. I think.
Just looking outside and being where we are, it really feels like being here. I've probably been more I haven't been in a more creative space than. I can't remember when.
Crazy. That's
but just
amazing.
you just feel like, and just ideas keep flowing through, and you just feel like it's a very peaceful place where just things you're not bothered by anybody or anything to work on things. This is the most efficient you've put out 9 songs since I've been here, or worked on 9 tunes. Yeah,
well, I did the 7, and then I've just finished 2 more, and then I have 3 more to do.
Okay, so
then I'm gonna start the next project.
9 songs, and I've been here since Friday. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, so 9. It's almost 2 songs a day, average
with vocals. Yeah, because everything else was tracked and all that. But I've been.
Oh, okay, but
I also did the Marty Robbins thing. That was just. Because I literally, when you got here, I set up drums.
Okay. Yeah.
It's that's the beginning. So,
okay.
It's just starting to get sounds and see what I can make with what I've got and stuff.
It's great.
Yeah. You coming actually was an inspiration. It was like, shoot, I got to get my stuff in order.
That's so nice.
Because you're a professional.
I appreciate that. And this feels like a place where you guys are out and about, but I think you guys are starting to round into form about how long you want to spend on the road and how long you want to spend here working on everything. Because I know Zach's got stuff upstairs and which involves you as well.
Yeah. We've got a lot of one thing we had a lot of time to do is talk about projects. What can we do? What should we do? And why and stuff. And we've brainstormed a lot about different creative projects as the Zmed Brothers, and the first one is definitely doing a Felice and Blue Bryant record. Making 12. I mean, a first volume of just their tunes, like not necessarily songs that were Everly songs, but just a whole plethora of like that kind of are anchor points to their career in some way, and because they're a huge reason why we're here, that family and stuff. So
why you're physically here? In Colombia.
In Colombia, in Colombia and in Tennessee, and how we got to where we are and stuff because of the music we're celebrating and the history that we're celebrating. They're a huge part of it.
Of course.
Huge. And it's crazy. We know their son, Del. It's like from doing the show, playing in Franklin, it was really Billy Steinberg who introduced us to Del, which was just the coolest thing ever that he did that. But you know who Billy Steinberg is?
I know I don't.
He wrote, it was a writing team, Tom Kelly and Billy Steinberg, and
this is coming. It's gonna bite me in the ass.
They wrote True Colors for Cyndi Lauper.
Yes,
So Emotional for
because we talked about Tyson
Houston,
Tyson's dad, and
Tyson Kelly's dad from King Washington. Well, are they still doing it?
I don't think they are. Tyson's in England somewhere.
Yeah,
he started doing the Beatles tribute thing.
Yeah,
or wasn't a Beatles tribute.
I knew that. I was just playing.
But I think I think he moved to England at this point. I don't know if we're.
Yeah.
I gotta talk to George about what he's doing because he's always in Camarillo because his family's in Camarillo.
Yeah.
It's just how I knew.
Those guys are so damn talented. I love that. But
every time we do an Ambrosia show, I always play
their music.
I always play King Washington's house music because
it works.
Because Joe Puerta gets a kick out of it, and he's like, "I wish they were still doing stuff." And that's how I found out they weren't a thing anymore.
Through Joe. Yeah.
So it's a damn shame, but
they made some great work,
great records,
and it's out there.
They're still they're not going away. The records aren't going away.
Yeah. That's
the nice thing.
They captured what they were at the times that they were what they were. And that's all you can ask for. So Tom Kelly and Billy Steinberg. Yeah, Billy is. Zach and I used to play with him at certain events and stuff. And we were introduced to him through Paul Kilmeister, Paul Ender.
I have his drum kit.
Oh yeah.
I know that guy. I don't know that guy. I know you, and you had his drum kit that you.
I got a bass drum from him, and I fixed it up and all that. And Sepultura's bass drum.
Oh, sorry?
Sepultura, this like metal band from the 80s or 90s. So he introduced us to Billy Steinberg, and he's the sweetest man, and just like we played several events with him, like where we would sing the songs that like he didn't want to sing because like So Emotional. Zach and I did a 2-part harmony kind of version of Whitney Houston's So Emotional. We did I Drove All Night that they wrote for Roy Orbison. And it was, and we did a little, because crazy thing about Like a Virgin, that song, they wrote that for Madonna, but Billy originally kind of wrote it as more of a lullaby, and his version of the song.
Oh, I know. I've seen you've performed it very much like
in more of the
touch.
sweeter kind of. We do a 2-part harmony thing of it, but it's so sweet seeing him perform it because he's just playing just one acoustic guitar and just singing this really sweet version of the song.
Leave it to Nile Rodgers to fuck up his song,
Wait, no. Is that the producer?
I think he's the producer. Nile Rodgers produced that Madonna version.
Well, but here's the thing. The demo that they made, like, Madonna followed to a T. Okay. Because Billy does the lyrics, and Tom Kelly, Tyson's dad, he does the music. Got it. And so the demo itself was, like, very much the way that Madonna followed it. But yeah, just the lyrics were... And the way his performance was of it was just so sweet. But yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, Billy introduced us to Adele, which it's just crazy. I mean,
there's a rule I say around my friends and other people that I know that I talk about you guys, and it's like there's a 6 degree to Zmed game. You know, there's always like I don't know how many people that you know that we have like mutual friends that we probably have mutual friends we don't even know are mutual friends yet. You know?
Yeah, that's
because you know like
they could be meeting right now.
It could be. They go, oh yeah. Like I just went to the NAMM show a couple of years ago. You guys went to NAMM with.
Yeah, we
with
went with Richie Podler and Bill Cooper. Yeah,
yes,
they ran American Recording Studio for a long time, and those guys are just legends and veterans of the music industry. Yeah.
But we were rocking on the show floor, and there was like, you could filter with you could filter with your hand how many people like you knew or got remembered or from the past, and it's like.
That's funny. I mean, because I just feel so antisocial all the time. I just feel so like I don't. There's so much that I could be doing that I'm not doing. You know, kind of thing. You know, it's. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's just something that comes natural. You know, it's just I don't know, or it's just being in that sort of space.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you never know. Yeah, you just got to do things, and. We can be our own worst enemies and keep ourselves from being in certain, seen in certain lights and stuff. But yeah, we've been lucky to just do the work we've been doing and to be able to keep doing it. You know, it's some folks can't sustain it and they have to like get a day job but we've been lucky to find ways around. Continuing to fully pursue what we're doing, and you can't take it for granted any moment, right? It's granted, right?
It's granted. You can't take it for granted,
yeah,
not granted.
Yeah, because that's a rock.
It's a rock. I mean, you could take it for a rock if you wanted to, but
it's
it doesn't have the same same learning value.
Yeah, or point. Yeah. But yeah, it's so nice. I mean, we've been in this certain mode for 3 some odd years, and we've established the show enough to where it's like, and we want to keep continuing to organically grow it and have new sections in the show come about and
add the catalog.
Yeah, open up the catalog of songs that we play, but it's at a place that we can. And now that we have a home, it's a nest, and it's a creative nest, and we can start fostering projects and new art, and that is just paramount. That's huge to us, and but they feed each other, and like, so our plan for 2020 is to do a spring, a summer, a winter, or a fall and a winter tour. And then within that have some things that we do one-offs here and there if it's good gigs and stuff. But to have like a month of uninterrupted time at home, to like, gosh, like that would be fantastic. Because I mean, you know the drill of touring, and that's our life support. So we're able to have this. So you go out, you earn it, and then you work. You come back and then you work. So that's kind of the setup that we're looking for. And
it's fantastic. I think you set up a really nice space.
Thanks, man.
I think we can wrap this up pretty quickly. I think we got covered because we got just enough an hour. But I want to be able to focus on a little bit on your at least where you can find the new record, because I know you're just kind of putting it out yourself, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, everything. I just did everything start to finish. Like no one heard it until I just released it.
Yeah. Would you put it on like make it available on a more like streaming platforms and stuff?
Well, it's on. I just put it on SoundCloud,
right?
Because I have a file on there, and it's like the easiest way for I could just send a link to somebody.
Sure.
And
I'll put a link on it.
Thank you, man. But to me, I just want to keep doing things. I feel like the right moment will show itself when it's like I need to take it to the next level.
Okay.
But I just want to just make a bunch of stuff right now and just share it with the small community of people that I'm connected to, and just keep doing it until I feel like there's enough of a body of work that kind of has some spirit to it and all that. But yeah, I mean, it's just, they're collage songs. They're just chunked together things, and it's a fun way of working, but I think I'll find other ways to work too. But I'm just trying things, But yeah, I would like to get it out there. I don't know. I don't know, man.
I can help you out there. Let me know if, anything you need from me. Please let me know.
Oh, thank you.
I want to attach. I want a hunchback. I want to ride your coattails. I want to
the wake of.
I want to somehow be involved, even though that's a weird way of saying it. But I just because it's such good stuff.
That's crazy. Thank you for saying that.
So whatever you need from me, just let me know, and I'll help you out.
Thank you, man. It's so cool to hear that. Like, I just I'm just gonna keep making things. So I'll be sharing it on the platforms.
I'll be listening.
But yeah, I'm so glad you're here. And you want another margarita?
Yeah, let's stop this podcast and have one more margarita.
All right. Let's do it.
Again.
Thank you, man. Thanks for doing this. Let's turn this shit off.